One, two, three, mic testing, mic testing, one, two, three. You need to understand that filmmaking is business. It's not something you just want to do out of passion because my friend, passion or the pay. My name is Clement, Cletus Clement. I'm a filmmaker, CEO of movie production, the production outfits. We are into movie making, commercials, documentary, branded content, and yeah, that's basically what we do, and every other thing in between that has to do with media communications and all that. I've been more than 2 decades in the industry, and it has been easy and it has not been easy. Filmmaking wasn't something I wanted to do. I didn't even think about it. It wasn't something that I dreamt of. Back then when we were kids, we were young, you wanted to be, when they ask you what you want to become, you said you want to be an engineer, you want to be a doctor, you want to be a pilot. So I didn't even know that there was something called filmmaking. You understand? So it wasn't my, tick board. So, but accidentally, I came across an organization, and that was when I was in school at the University of Lagos. So I used to align myself with some friends who were in theater art, though I have a science background. But you find that most of my friends were in art, so I was always with them. So we go out, on some festivals, on some events and all that. So there was this production we did, and at the end, it didn't really see the light of the day. So there was this girl who saw me and like, guy, you have this thing in you now. Don't just let it die. There's this organization I will introduce you to. And so she introduced me to an organization called ITSPAN. ITSPAN is the Independent Television Producers Association of Nigeria. So it's a body that's made up of producers.
Is this why you were still?
Yeah, while I was still in the university. So I just okay, let me just go there. So incidentally, they wanted to have a student body, different members from different universities and all that. So I got there, and on the day of the inauguration, I saw giants, the giant in the industries, those guys that were pulling with in terms of storytelling, commercial production, talking about the Femi Odubenis, talk about the Jayo Joes, the Tunde Kelanis, and of course, Super Story, Wale Adenuga. So I just like, wow, these are actually the people that are in charge, that are doing all these things. So I was inspired. And I was on a 1 week visit to Wale Adenuga on his sets. So we were there for 1 week and actually served as an eye opener, to how films are being done and all that. And so after the 1 week, I'm like, okay, what next? We're given, I think, a certificate and all that, and that was the end. I said, okay, what next? So some of my colleagues, they were opportune to intern in some production house, and one of them called on me to like, okay, you can be part of us. And so I happened to intern at ABF, that's Audiovisual First, which was the production arm of STB McCann. STB McCann is an advertising agency. Those guys were the one, making all the commercials in Nigeria. So that's why I'm saying I'm really lucky to have started off, from that stage. So it actually opened my eyes to a lot of things. So I got interned there for more than a year. I wasn't paid. I was just going from school, and full-time student from Unilag back to the studio, sometimes sleep at the studio. It wasn't so easy, you understand? But it was exciting. And sometimes we go on location. So under the tutelage of Yinka Oduni, so he groomed me. He actually encourages me a lot. Like, you know what? I didn't study filmmaking, but this is what I'm doing now. You can as well do this. So pretty much I started from there, looking at what people were doing, editing, carrying the camera and all that. And that actually inspired me a lot to, come into filmmaking. So it was by accident. It wasn't something that was really planned at all. But I think the biggest break, or my first break I had, was with Big Brother Nigeria, the first Big Brother Nigeria. So when I was at AVF, I was looking at the way people were doing editing, I was putting my hands on it. I was hungry then, understand? I wanted to do this thing. So I started learning, looking at what guys were, the software they were using, After Effects, Premiere. Premiere was really popular then, and then there was this Harvit. I think Sojo Gunaike was the one using Harvit, and I was like looking at it, was like the dawn then, when we do commercials, we call on Soji to come and do the finishing, and Soji would just stroll in with his, desktop, and he got paid a lot of money. I was like, how is this dude? So I look at, what was doing. There was this software called Harvit, and I start putting my hands on it, and, and I was in school just one day when he gave me a call and said, come, can you do this? Can you use Harvit very well? Oh boy, I won't lie you. I didn't, at that point, I was not really strong with editing. Not to talk of Harvit. Harvit is a platform that is actually very different from, the interface is different from your normal editing tool. It has a lot of, complex. I just have to be very grounded for you to understand. I just said, I will do it. He said, okay, come over. So I got there, and I saw, the showrunners, some of them were from South Africa, the Obiasika from Nigeria, it was Storm Vision with Endemol. So they were the one that brought in the Big Brother Nigeria thing. So I was assigned to help the editors, and basically what I was doing was to digitize, because then we used to shoot on tape. It was better cam. So they said, okay, I'm going to digitizing, help the editors and all that. So, and they said, okay. They gave me the console, I sat on it and got the tape. Boy, I was scared. I just slotted in, opened the edit, the Harvit interface, and then I was slowing, partly just to kind of impress them, not that I really know half of what I was doing, but they were looking, they were observing, most especially the white guys from South Africa. And then the largest extent, the way I saw them nodding their head, in my mind I said, oh well. So I got drafted, and when I saw my payslip, whoa, it was huge. I'm like, I'm not even in the industry yet, and I'm getting paid like this. But one thing you can take away from me then was that I was really hungry. I wanted to do it. You can see the zeal. Even if I wasn't paid, I would still do it just to have that credit. And after Big Brother, Remy Ogupiton, the Storm Vision, those guys, they recognize talent and someone who's hungry. So they drafted me to their company. It was Storm Vision then. So now as an editor, you understand? So I started working as an editor. We did a lot of projects, like we did Dragons Den, The Apprentice, Coco Mansion, Pick Talent Show, a lot.
From there and where you are now, how important would you say mentorship was for you in bringing you to where you are? Did you have, yeah, you mentioned you had one or two people you looked up to, but did you have a particular person that mentored you in what you were doing?
Mentorship is very important, very important. In fact, not only in filmmaking, but in different aspects of life. You understand? Either your professional career or your life as a your personal life. Mentorship, you can't do without mentorship. But when we talk about mentorship, some people can get it wrong in a way that you have to have this person who lead you to your destination and all that. But sometimes it's not like that. You can observe someone even from afar, and that person can be your mentor. You understand? You can still meet with someone. You said, okay, I'm learning this. During my learning period, a lot of people I looked up to, like I wanted to be like them. So those were my mentors. I didn't really have a particular person that says, okay, you know what? Okay, come, let me hold your hand. But it
Can you
was
name one or two that you're looking up to?
okay. When it comes to post-production, editing, there was Soji Ogunaike of Russian Tap. In fact, when Soji opened his first company, he called me and said, "Guy, I want you to be part of this." So I was working with him, doing some of his edits and all that. So I look at Soji as someone, because he has done a lot. So I can mention him. And then there's this other guy too who was my friend. He's still my friend also, Chuka Ejo. He's CEO of Blink Studio. And other guys too in the industry. And when it comes to directing, I look up to the person that I intern with, Yinka Odoni. He's a producer he's one of the producers of Madu, the Emmy award-winning documentary. So I look up to so many people in the industry. And of course, when it comes to production, how to handle production, run the production company, and different projects. Remy Ogunpitan is a veteran. So those are people I looked up to and like, okay, they can do this. I think I can really learn from them. So mentorship, you can as well get closer to that person for the person to hold you and tell you one or two things to do. And you can as well observe from far. But you can't get headway if you don't have a mentor. You can't get headway. It's very, very important. You make a lot of mistakes. But there are some things that are avoidable, because they will be able to not only inspire you, but also tell you the do's and don'ts. When it comes to, this filmmaking thing, they will tell you the do's and don'ts. They will be able to tell you the mistakes they've made so that you don't repeat it. So I think these are the aspects of mentorship one shouldn't joke with. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, action.
After being an editor for close to like more than 10 years, I ventured into directing, and I started directing some stuff, commercials, documentaries, and I was also drafted to Big Brother, now as a director. I know you are still going to ask me that questions anyway. So for many seasons as a director, prior to that, I've been shooting commercials, documentaries, and also shot my first movie, a feature-length movie called Paternity Deal, and that was my first movie. And a friend actually helped. That's the late Carol Peter. He was my co-producer on the movie, because before then I've been editing some of his movies, not most, some of his movies, and also sometimes just like, okay, direct this part. So I co-directed some of his movies too. So when I wanted to do mine, I called him and I said, you know what, I want to do this, and he actually helps a lot, And the Paternity Deal was licensed to African Magic for 2 years. They came on board, and yeah, that was my first movie, and I was happy to have done that, being my first movie, and it was being licensed and to showcase. So it was really something that inspired me to do more. Yes, I would say I had a very bad business plan, and
So what happened?
and that's one thing that every filmmaker needs to learn before you even venture into shooting. Once you have that idea, you should be able to put your business plan into place. Who are you making this film for? Who are your audience? Is it for theater release, or is it for streaming? Is it for social media, or is it the traditional platform? So these are questions you need to ask yourself. And I think every filmmaker, more especially in our terrain, West Africa, where we are, where there's not enough structure for you to leverage on, you need to understand the fact that as a filmmaker, you need to think like a businessman. You need to think like an entrepreneur. You need to understand the business, the money-making part of it. And I think for me, this was what I never considered. I just wanted to make a film. I just wanted to tell that story, to bring it out. The excitement of making your first feature without even thinking about this. But then I also have it in mind that the people that surrounded me, are going to leverage on their knowledge. For example, the late Carl De Peters, he has done a lot of televisions, fame, and so I leverage on that, and I was able to make an impact. But taking it further was not easy, trying to release it in the theater, the film house, and all that. It wasn't really easy because I didn't have that knowledge,
So okay, so why do you think you didn't make as much as you should have with your movie?
So for Paternity Deal, it was a great experience. Technical wise, it was success, but when it comes to marketing, we didn't make as much as we could have, and I think it was partly based on the fact that we didn't do the marketing enough, and I wasn't so experienced. That was my first film, and I think part of that contributed towards we didn't really make much money as we could have. But I think we would have done much. I, as a filmmaker, would have, market the products right from the onset. And that's one thing we filmmakers need to pay attention to. when it comes to creating content, whatever content you want to create. You should have your marketing plan in place. That will really help for you to be able to, leverage um, and make money. Because if you are not making money, you won't be encouraged to, to do the next project. So it's very, very important for you to consider the business aspect of filmmaking and put that in your plan even before you venture to shooting your film. So for Paternity Deal, like I said, production wise, it was success because that was my first film. But business wise, I could have done better knowing what I know now. I could have done better.
Okay, so for your second venture into filmmaking, what would you say you did right that made the backwaters more successful?
Okay, the backwater was a film I produced and directed. It was something that I think it was more or less based on the fact that it was a passion project. It was a passion project, and what did I do well? I think it just evolved. I put a lot into marketing and publicity, not in terms of money, but the top of the mind awareness. I'm talking of talkability, just making people to see it. It wasn't something I did primarily for box office. It was something that I just wanted to put out, just wanted to tell the story. And I shot it with the phone, just two phones. The story was there, and based on the fact that I have experience in filmmaking, I've done several big projects, I was able to bring that knowledge into the backwater. And pre-production, I really put a lot into pre-production, and that also helped in the sense that I was able to structure the story. And eventually, when we finished productions, and I just pulled it out there to different festivals, and it just went, will I say, viral, and then organically moves. So it was nothing special I really did, but the passion to push it was there. I think I really did a lot of work when it comes to pushing it out compared to Paternity Deal that I actually spent a lot of millions on. So I pushed the backwater, the festivals, and I think what also encourages me was the fact that it was well accepted more on the outside. I'm talking of out of Nigeria, West Africa. I think the first award that came was in Italy, Milan, Italy, and it was in the category, international category. Like there were other films from Russia, China, United States, and mine came as the best documentary. So it was huge for me, and that actually encouraged me. Okay, so this thing I did, because I didn't believe it was going to, go that far. And so the Doc Media Center, Documentary Media Center in the UK, also showcase it. They archive it, and was also shown to the student of the Montfort University as a case study. And one other award here in Nigeria as best climate and conservation film by the let me still remember African Film for Impact was best documentary. African Smartphone Film Festival was best documentary, and also was showcased in Brazil and of course was also showcased at St. Andrew University at Ubuntu in Scotland, and some other festival around the world. So it was really something that I'm still proud of, that I can make the film and it travels that far, and people can call and say, "Oh, your film inspired me. I want to do something like this." So it was really something I'm really, really proud of as a filmmaker.
Okay, so building up from when you started your internship, the first venture into filmmaking, and to winning all these awards, where you are right now, what would you say has been your, what should I say, motivation? What have really pushed you? What principles have you stood on that have built you so far?
I think first of all, you must love what you're doing. When you're in alignment with what you're doing, it won't look like a job. I think for me personally, I'm in line with what I'm doing. But one thing you also need to note as a filmmaker is the fact that it got to a point you need to see beyond your skill set. You need to understand that filmmaking is business. It's not something you just want to do out of passion, because my friend, passion no dey pay. Passion may not put food on your table. It may, but in terms of the fact that you want to scale, you need to diversify. You need to start thinking, how can you put system in place? How can you structure your program? How can you be able to take that skill from you just being an artisan into becoming a business? Because you see yourself as an entrepreneur, not just a filmmaker. You see yourself as a business, and you want to structure it in such a way that the system are in place to take care of some certain things. Okay, this is a rover, story in motion. It's still all about story, what I do, and over the years, gained some few experience, and I believe storytelling is more. We can actually do a lot, telling stories. Stories for impacts, advocacy, story to that can even make the government change policies, that can better the environment, and of course the well-being of people. So a lot has to do with story, brand stories that can make people to want to buy products, stories that can change the way people look at you, even stories that can change the outlook of countries, more especially like here in Africa. They look at some African countries as poverty striking countries. Story can change a lot. So we at Moreview believe that with story we can be able to make impact by telling the right story of people, story about brands, story about occasion, story about the environment, in ways that people begin to see what they didn't see. People begin to believe in certain things we want them to believe, and see light in way they didn't see before. So that's what Arova it's all about. And Arova it's about bringing community of storytellers together to make sure that they tell the right story that people can benefit from. So it's also about stories that travel, not just within the local scene, but stories that can travel far. I'll use the backwater as a case study. It was just a story I shot in Lagos, Nigeria, and it travels far away to Italy, and where it got its first awards, shown in Brazil and of course Scotland. So it's basically stories in motion. It doesn't have to do with you using the best equipment, or just about you understanding, story structure and telling it a way that other people, other culture can resonate with. So that's what Arova is all about, and that's what we are working on, to be able to spread stories and collaborate with both local and international community. I think the three key things you must understand as a filmmaker, I will mention it. The number one is skill. For you to, as a filmmaker, for you to upscale and take it from just being a filmmaker into becoming a business, since we are talking film business now. For me, the three areas you really need to pay attention to and put things in place. First is skill. The second one is strategy. And then the third one, I would say, is system. I'll go over it one by one. In terms of skill, you must understand what you are doing in the first place. You must have that basic skill to want to be a filmmaker. And that has to do with your technical as well as your creative. You must understand the basic of filmmaking when it's come to the technical. You don't necessarily need to be the highest professional when it's come to cinematography, but you need to understand some basic things about cameras. When it's come to lighting, your 3-point lighting, you still need to understand your fill light, your kill light. And for editing, at least you understand some basic of cutting and, understand how rhythm works, how flows, and understand colors, how colors affect emotions and all that. So those skill sets, you need to understand them very well, so that when you are in the process of doing this thing, you can venture into it seamlessly without you having to, even sometime when you're on set, you don't necessarily need to rely on some people for you to get some things done. Even as a producer, as a director, you can say, okay, this is what I want, this is what I can do, this is what, you understand? You understanding the nuances will really helps you a lot.
Okay, so tell us who we have here. What's your name? What you do? How long have you been in the industry?
Okay, first of all, I just want to say thank you. I appreciate
My
it.
life. Stop! Don't start with that. Thank you. Don't try that. Don't try that. Don't try that.
Okay.
You cannot try that. No way.
All right. Let's go. You edit that on me. Okay. Okay.
Okay. Let's